Well, I was raised by leather men. They kind of adopted me. I never felt a real strong bond to the lesbian community. I liked them, they were women. I was drawn to them, but they just didn't want much to do with me. They always saw me as kind of an outsider. I don't know why that is. We probably speculate all kinds of things, and I definitely present as butch, but I was taken under the wing of some leathermen. And so my first leather daddy was a man, and he raised me like one of his boys. So that set the tenor for the rest of my life. I consider myself non-binary and trisexual. I've tried everything sexual. I'm not a spring chicken. I know I look pretty good, but yeah, I'm 59. I have a 59-year-old body. The Peter Pan living inside, unfortunately. I can fly, flop. Well, I guess I can't today. See, let me explain it this way. Chicago was a network. We're like the conduit. You had your New York and you have your San Francisco. Okay, those are the polar seascapes of the leather community. And, back in the 80s, when I started to get into leather, it was a sexual thing. I mean, let's not mince words. It was sex. It was about sex. And then throughout AIDS, it intermingled a whole lot more with community activism. And some people, honestly, just are gravitating towards the service. There's International Mr. Leather, and there's International Mr. Bootblack now. I was the first International Ms. Bootblack in 1999. I was also the American Leather Woman in 97. A bootblack is somebody that takes care, basically, of your leathers. The reason they call it bootblack is because traditionally it's done from a bootblacking stand. It's like a shoe shine person with maybe a sexual and a service spin on it. When I think of International Mr. Leather, I think of the contest itself. I would say it's a cross between a beauty pageant and the largest gathering of sadomasochists in the North American continent. The first year that I was asked to be a handler, just working with handling the contestants. And I said to the den daddy at the time, I said, do you think I should bring my shine kit? Maybe. Sure, Leslie, why not? And I was off and running. Let me tell you, there's usually 50 plus contestants, and I shine all of their boots. I shine all of their leathers. So I prepare the contestants. I calm them down. I'm mama, I'm daddy, I'm, their therapist, I'm their disciplinarian, and all of those things. Nobody goes out onto that stage without my approval. And that's exhausting. You think about that. Nobody has just one pair of boots. It's always like 3. So you're looking at 100 and some odd pairs. And it's a great experience for me. I mean, I love it. I live for it. It fills me up. I gravitated towards being a bootblack. And that was because my mom was a nurse, a registered nurse. And I longed to have a connection with my mom, but she worked graveyard shifts when I was growing up, so I seldom saw her. So my parents would allow me to stay up late and shine up my mom's white nurse's shoes. That's back when they wore the white nurse, with the pasty crap that you put on. But I made them look great, and I would get that just a couple of moments, where she would put them on and she would look approvingly at me, and it just melted me. I worked for that. That was a great connection for me. So I translated that into the leather community. It just came naturally. I wanted to know more about what happens to leathers when they're retired. I worked for the Field Museum. I've done work for Smithsonian for their traveling exhibitions for years. Actually, I'm an exhibit preparator. That's technically what, or curator. A lot of times I'll be out on the road and I go into a leather bar, an old leather bar, and I ask them if they'll let me. Sure, Leslie, you can go upstairs, downstairs. And I just start foraging through their things. And I bring back stuff, a lot of really old things here from clubs. These things, they're just collecting dust. And I said, can I take this back? Sure. Brought it back to Chicago and there it is. It's hanging up. I feel really connected and really proud of that. You know, I'm an open door. The reason for that is look, you know, I worked a long time to get out of the closet. I took my knocks. I'm not going back. I'll die out of the closet, you know. That's just the way that is. But I do feel responsible for passing on what I know to the younger generations. The best advocates for people with diminished rights are the people with the diminished rights, feeling passionate and empowered to make good activists of them. So I'm all about empowering and lighting the fire and then fanning the flames.
Next week, episode 4, Love in a Time of Hypothermia.
Like, oh, that's awesome.
From Superphonic Studios, this is Chicago. Listen every Sunday.